Dear students, today our topic of discussion is bronchiectasis. Bronchiectasis is a disease characterized by permanent dilatation of bronchi and bronchioles caused by destruction of the muscle and elastic tissue resulting from or associated with chronic necrotizing infection. Now, to be considered bronchiectasis, the dilatation of the bronchi and bronchioles should be permanent. Reversible bronchial dilatation often accompanies viral and bacterial pneumonia, so the dilatation should be permanent to be considered as bronchiectasis. Now, the disease manifests clinically as cough, fever, and expectoration of copious amount of foul-smelling purulent sputum. Now, the disease bronchiectasis is associated with various conditions which are predisposing conditions of bronchiectasis. First is the congenital or hereditary conditions, which includes the cystic fibrosis, carcinogenous syndrome, immunodeficiency state, primary ciliary dyskinesia, and many others. Then the post-infectious conditions, including the necrotizing pneumonia caused by bacteria like Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Staphylococcus, Haemophilus, or viruses, adenovirus, influenza virus, HIV, and fungi like Aspergillus. Next is the bronchial obstruction. Next predisposing condition is bronchial obstruction, either due to tumor, foreign body, or mucus impaction. In these conditions, the bronchiectasis is localized to the obstructed lung segment. Now, other conditions which also predisposes to bronchiectasis are rheumatoid arthritis, SLE or systemic lupus erythematosus, inflammatory bowel disease, etc. etc. So these all are the predisposing conditions in which bronchiectasis may develop. Now coming to the etiology and pathogenesis of bronchiectasis. Now obstruction and infection, these two are the major factors which are associated with bronchiectasis. And both these factors are necessary for the development of the full-fledged disease, although either factor may come first. Now, what happens after bronchial obstruction? Maybe it is due to mucus impaction, tumor, foreign body. The normal clearing mechanism in the bronchi and bronchioles are impaired. This leads to pooling of secretion distal to the obstruction, and there is inflammation of the airways, because whenever there is accumulation of secretion within the airways, it becomes a seat of infection. Conversely, severe infection, when infection is the initiating factor, then it also leads to inflammation, often with necrosis, fibrosis, and eventually the dilatation of the airways. So these mechanisms, infection and obstruction, are most readily apparent in the severe form of the disease associated with cystic fibrosis. Now in cystic fibrosis, uh, the basic defect is in the chloride transport, which leads to impaired secretion of chloride ion into the mucus. So there is low sodium and water content in the mucus, leading to accumulation of thick viscid secretion, and there is also defective mucociliary action, which ultimately obstructs the airways. This leads to a marked susceptibility to bacterial infection, which further damages the airways. Now, with repeated infections, there is widespread damage to airway valves. Ultimately, there is destruction of the supporting smooth muscle and elastic tissue, fibrosis, and further dilatation of the bronchi. The smaller bronchioles, they become progressively obliterated due to fibrosis, which is known as bronchiolitis obliterans. Almost similar event also occurs in the primary ciliary dyskinesia, where there is it is a autosomal recessive syndrome, where there is absence of shortening of the Dynein arm, which is responsible for the coordinated bending of the cilia, and these patients also are predisposed to the development of bronchiectasis. due to infections in the sinuses and in the bronchi. Um, and another condition, that is allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, which is hypersensitivity reaction to the fungus Aspergillus fumigatus. It is also an important complication of asthma and cystic fibrosis. And this patients of this allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis also develops bronchiectasis, where there is intense airway inflammation with the eosinophils and formation of mucus plug. So this is the pathogenesis of bronchiectasis, where infection and obstruction, these two factors, whichever is earlier, these two factors ultimately leads to bronchiectasis, that is the permanent dilatation of the bronchi and bronchioles. Now coming to the morphology of the disease. Bronchiectasis affects usually the lower lobes of the lung bilaterally, and particularly the air passages that are vertically are more commonly affected, and it is more severe in the more distal bronchi and bronchioles. When tumor or aspiration of the foreign bodies are the cause of bronchiectasis, then it is usually localized to a single segment of the lung. The airways are dilated often up to 4 times of their normal size, and this according to the shape of the dilatations, there are various morphological forms of bronchiectasis, like cylindrical bronchiectasis, where there is long tube-like enlargement of the bronchioles. Saccular bronchiectasis, where there is rounded sac-like distension of the airways. Fusiform, whereas there is spindle-shaped enlargement of the bronchioles. And finally, the irregular enlargement of the airways leads to varicose type of bronchiectasis. So these are different morphological forms. Now in bronchiectasis, characteristically the bronchial bronchioles are sufficiently dilated that they can be followed on gross examination directly up to the pleural surface. In contrast, in a normal lung, the bronchioles cannot be followed by ordinary gross dissection beyond a point 2 to 3 cm from the pleural surface. And on the cut surface of the lung, the transected dilated bronchi, they appears as cyst filled with mucopurulent secretions. So this is known as the honeycomb appearance of the lung. When the cut surface of the lung in a case of bronchiectasis shows dilated bronchi and bronchioles which looks like cyst filled with secretions, so looking like honeycomb, it is known as honeycomb appearance of the lung. Um, Let us see the various morphological types of the diagram of various morphological types of the bronchiectasis. We can see the normal appearance of the bronchi, then the cylindrical enlargement, varicose, that is irregular, and the cystic or saccular enlargement, rounded saccular enlargement of the airways. So these are the various morphological form of bronchiectasis. Now this is a comparison between the normal airway and a bronchiectatic airway. We can see that the bronchiectatic airway, it is dilated many times compared to this normal airway, and having a thick wall. Thickness of the wall is increased, and the lumen is filled with the mucus. Uh, there is mucus impaction in the lumen. Now, it is the picture of a specimen of bronchiectasis. This is a part of lung showing dilated, cut surface of which shows dilated airways filled with mucopurulent secretions. So this is the honeycomb appearance. This is known as honeycomb appearance. So this is a specimen of lung in a case of bronchiectasis, showing part of lung, section of which shows the dilated airways filled with secretions of the honeycomb appearance. Now after the gross morphology, coming to the microscopical features. Now, microscopically, the histologic finding of the bronchiectasis vary with the activity and chronicity of the disease. In a full-blown active disease, there is an intense acute and chronic inflammatory exudation within the wall of the bronchi and bronchioles, associated with desquamation of the lining epithelium, and ultimately there is extensive areas of necrotizing ulceration. There may be pseudostratification of the columnar epithelium or squamous metaplasia of the remaining epithelium. In some instances, the necrosis completely destroys the bronchial and bronchiolar walls and forms a lung abscess. There is also associated fibrosis of the bronchial and bronchiolar wall and also peribronchiolar fibrosis, which develops in more chronic disease and leads to varying degrees of subtotal or total obliteration of the bronchiolar luminum. Now this is showing the microscopic feature of bronchiectasis. We can see that in the wall of the airways there is intense acute and chronic inflammatory cell infiltration, dense inflammatory infiltration in the wall of the airway, and at spaces focally, at places focally there is ulceration of the lining epithelium, ulceration of the mucosa focally. So this is the microscopic picture of bronchiectasis. Now coming to the clinical features of bronchiectasis. Clinically, bronchiectasis causes severe persistent cough with expectoration of foul smelling, sometimes bloody sputum. In advanced cases, there may be dyspnea and orthopnea, and occasionally life-threatening bronchiectasis also may occur. Now, these symptoms of bronchiectasis are often episodic and usually precipitated by upper respiratory tract infection or the after introduction of new pathogenic agents. In a full-blown case, the cough is paroxysmal in nature, that is, the cough is more frequent when the patient rises in the morning, because the change in the position, it leads to drainage of secretions, collected pool of secretions into the bronchi. Now, so these are the clinical features of bronchiectasis. Next is the complications. Complication of bronchiectasis is massive hemoptysis, formation of lung abscess and gangrene, amyloidosis, septicemia and pyemia when there is systemic dissemination of the infection, fibrosis, there may be cerebral and spinal abscesses due to spread of infection. It may be associated with clubbing and cor pulmonale, and finally squamous metaplasia, dysplasia, which rarely leads to squamous cell carcinoma. This is a rare possibility. So these are the complications of bronchiectasis. So this is all about bronchiectasis. Thank you.